8:10 on West Bremer Radio's Crossdown live to a library near you and talk to the man they call Harold the H. Peacock-a-doodle-doo, Harold Peacock. He's going to talk about a royal tour, a visit here to Ipswich that the locals reckon never happened, but it did. How are you, Harold?
Fantastic. Yes, I'm sitting in the library. It's raining outside, but absolutely, this royal visit did happen, but it doesn't hit the stats.
What?
So I'm looking forward to telling you about this.
Well, I want to know. Come on.
Yeah, look, before I do, I just shout out to Susan and Rebecca. You were very excited when they visited us in the studio last year.
I'm very excited.
Now, they're spreading the word worldwide. Susan was listening last week from Portugal, and Rebecca's joining us soon. And we've got a new listener this week, Sarah in London. So, hello, Rebecca, Susan, Sarah, all of you. Welcome to everyone worldwide.
Could you send pictures to the historyouthere.com so we know what you look like? But I remember Sarah and Susan and Rebecca. I remember Susan. He's a club. He's a ha. Now, let's get on with the story. Welcome to the history segment of Ipswich.
Yeah, look, it was exactly 123 years ago yesterday that there was a highly anticipated royal visit to Ipswich that, like you say, many people are in denial about. It was just on noon on Friday, the 24th of May, 1901, that the royal train, on its way south, steamed up to the Ipswich railway station platform. The train, with its regal passengers, was visiting cities and towns around Australia. On board was the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall and York. They were the future King George V and Queen Mary, who are the great-grandparents of our current King Charles today.
Wow.
Now, this was the first ever visit by a British heir apparent. They were here for the opening of the first Australian Parliament, following Federation that year. And they were causing a frenzy of social activity everywhere they went. Now, Brisbane was awash with street decorations, including a Royal Arch that was built over George Street. And there was another arch in George Street, and that was an Indigenous one that included Aboriginals standing in ceremonial dress. There was just decorations everywhere. The Governor of Queensland read the late Queen Victoria's proclamation of Australia's Federation from the balcony of the Treasury building in the city. Now, Ipswich also caught up in the excitement and showed that it really knew how to throw a party because there was a large crowd assembled to greet the royal visitors at the Ipswich station.
Right.
Light refreshments were available, with waiters from Government House being in attendance. Now, the crowd gave a collective gasp as the train pulled up because the Duke and Duchess could be seen together inside one compartment of their rail car. Both were facing the front. Now, the Duke was nearest to the platform and the Duchess could plainly be seen through the central window. Lord Lamington was the first to alight. He was the Governor of Queensland, who today is immortalised, having given his name to the Lamington cake.
Yes.
And the collective excitement of the crowd was palpable. Now, a number of Aboriginals had assembled at the station. They burst into singing in language and clapping of hands. They formed a full-on corroboree, especially for the occasion. Miss Fanny Hunt, she was the headmistress of Ipswich Girls' Grammar School. Now, she was there with the girls who had gathered on the embankment overlooking the line below the school grounds.
Right.
Charles Alfred Flint, he was the headmaster of Ipswich Grammar School. He had his boys assembled at the Waghorn Street railway gates. Now, Mr. Flint was known to have a robust tenor voice and was ready to lead the boys in cheers. Now, finally, the Aboriginals cheered and cheered again as a royal train departed on its way to Sydney. The grammar school girls waved the royal visitors farewell. The grammar school boys, with their masters, gave hearty cheers for the Royal Highnesses. Now, of the refreshments that were on the platform, however, neither of their Royal Highnesses took part. The Duke and Duchess had remained seated in one of the compartments of their railway cars the whole time. The Duke sat nearest the platform, but he kept the blind down, covering the window the whole time.
Bludger.
The Duchess, at one stage, she did stand up to watch corroboree through the window and graciously bowed and smiled, but on the whole, she sat quietly reading a newspaper. The royal stay in Ipswich in 1901 lasted less than 15 minutes, and the royals never left the carriage and yet it seemed half of the town was there to see them. In fact, 2 days were declared as public holidays in Ipswich to mark the occasion. They got 2 days holiday,
Wow.
and the Royals spent 15 minutes there. So there have officially been 10 royal visits to Ipswich since 1868, and the 123rd anniversary was yesterday of the event that would have made it 11. But that's only if you want to count it, Danny.
I wasn't around then, but, mate, that's very interesting. I wonder if Charles will ever come here, King Charles, to Ipswich.
Well, at least they can slow the train down as he comes through.
But obviously they were a bit arrogant. They didn't, they didn't want to come out and say hello to Fanny Hunt.
Well, yeah, that's right. Well, Fanny was there with all the girls, and all the boys were out there as well, and the dancing and singing. It was great. Great party, but, I guess they had enough Lamingtons on board to keep busy there.
Another great story from a storyteller, one of the great Ipswich storytellers. He is the only Ipswich storyteller. You can go to historyouthere.com. And girls, don't forget, you got Susan, Rebecca and Sarah. Send pictures so we know what you look like. We won't put them on our, just send pictures. Maybe you wanted to do another ark for me. Anyway, have a great day. That was a fantastic story, Harold. We'll hear you next week right here on West Bremer Radio, and occasionally we're going to have on Jane Keogh, who's a feature writer from the Sunday Mail. She did stories on people, places and significant events in Queensland history. And you got no problem with that?
I'm looking forward to Jane. That's some good stories. I'll be listening for sure.
We're talking Gympie this week, and we'll also talk.
Who doesn't like to talk Gympie?
Oh, it's a great place.
Everyone loves Gympie.
Yibbity, and it's 8:17 on West Bremer Radio.